used to believe that cities were built to protect us. Those tall towers stood like guardians over human dreams, and bright lights meant prosperity flowing through every window. But then I found myself walking beneath those same lights, late at night, where shadows stretched longer than hope. I saw tents stitched out of failure and cardboard shields against the cold. I saw young faces lowered not out of shame, but exhaustion, too tired to keep pretending tomorrow was guaranteed. This is not a story about China's economy. Numbers do not bleed when they fall. It is a story about people, about millions who once believed in a rising future, only to discover that the ground beneath them was quietly disappearing. They are the homeless in the world's newest megacities, the jobless with university degrees, the dreamers who traded youth for a promise that never arrived. In a country praised for growth and miracles, I found hunger living beneath billboards of abundance. I found loneliness sleeping under bridges, while homes stayed empty above them. Tonight, let me show you what the skyline refuses to reveal. A journey into the silent collapse of hope. A truth most would rather look away from. Number 1. Under the bridges where tomorrow sleeps. They say a city never sleeps. But that is only true if you ignore the ones who cannot afford a bed. Underneath Shenzhen's glittering skyline, the night tells a different truth. A softer, quieter tragedy that concrete tries to hide. I remember the first time I saw them. Young people lying shoulder to shoulder beneath a highway bridge, their backpacks as pillows, the hum of traffic above like waves crashing endlessly on a shore that offers no refuge. A gentle neon glow touched their faces, making them look almost peaceful. But look closer. There was no peace. Only the deep stillness of people waiting for life to begin. One man, maybe in his early 30s, rolled a cigarette with trembling fingers. He said he once worked in an office on the 30th floor of a tower nearby. He still kept his work ID in his pocket, like a souvenir from a life he swears he didn't imagine. His voice cracked when he said, "The building hasn't moved. Only I have." A woman sat cross-legged, staring at her phone screen gone dim from low battery. She wasn't watching anything, not scrolling, not reading, just holding the device like a lifeline, hoping someone, somewhere, would remember she exists. They once had dreams framed by college diplomas, guided by family pride, fueled by promises of progress. Now their dreams shrink to a single wish: survive this night. People passing by rarely look down. The wealthy walk faster. The middle class look away. And cameras from above never tilt enough to notice the color of despair. We celebrate skylines, but shadows tell the truth. We admire development, but we forget who built it. We praise a nation's rise, yet ignore those who are being crushed under its weight. There is a strange kind of silence here, a silence thicker than noise. It is the silence of abandoned ambitions, of resumes sent and unanswered, of hunger that growls but is forced into submission. It is the silence of people who once believed the city would lift them up. Now learning the city will not even bend down to see them. A young man named Lee said he doesn't dare tell his parents where he sleeps. "They think I'm doing well," he whispered, tears fighting not to fall. "I don't want to take away their pride." So he eats instant noodles behind a shopping mall filled with bright stores he used to enter without fear. You may wonder, how does a dream turn into a tent under a bridge? It doesn't happen all at once. It's a slow leak, a delayed paycheck, a job lost to automation, a rising rent, a government policy that forgets your name. Failure arrives quietly, until one day you realize home has become a luxury. In the distance, a massive apartment complex stands tall and hollow, unsold units lit artificially, like a ghost mocking those beneath it. Empty homes above, homeless youth below. If cities are the pride of a nation, then bridges are its confessions. And beneath those confessions lie the stories no one wants to tell. Number 2, the faces the city forgot. When daylight returns, the city pretends nothing happened. Morning commuters rush past the very spots where bodies once slept, their shoes brushing close to dreams still shivering under thin blankets. The world resets. Yesterday's struggle becomes today's invisibility. There is a boy I remember. He couldn't be older than 20. His hair was neatly trimmed, his jeans still looked new, and he brushed his teeth using a bottle of water he kept hidden behind a column. He said he graduated last year, top of his class. His eyes lowered as he admitted that the only job he found was collecting cardboard from garbage bins, a degree folded into a pocket full of crushed plastic. He told me he streams himself sometimes, sleeping. The internet throws coins at silence. There is something profoundly cruel about a society where a young man earns money not for his skills or passion, but for letting strangers watch his vulnerability. I asked him what he dreams of while he sleeps on camera. He paused, then said softly, "That someone might notice I'm still here." Further down the street, there is a woman who wakes before dawn to queue at a charity kitchen. She doesn't talk much. Her hands are rough, like someone who has worked too long for too little. When the volunteers hand her a bowl of porridge, she thanks them as though they've given her the world. She eats fast, because hunger teaches you that blessings can be taken away. People whisper that those who end up on the streets must have done something wrong, as if failure is always a personal flaw. As if the collapse of an economic model affects everyone equally. But fate has an uneven appetite. It devours the poor first. The truth is, no one plans to be homeless. It happens between one paycheck and the next, between a job application and another polite rejection. The city doesn't announce who it will cast out. It just stops looking at them. Above us, glossy advertisements play endlessly. Smiling families dressed in perfect clothes, celebrating a life the people down here can no longer afford to imagine. A voice from the billboard promises that happiness is just a mortgage away. But for those who sleep beneath that glowing sky, the word mortgage tastes like a threat, a chain sold as a dream. Sometimes, late at night, I hear them talk about home. Not the home with walls and keys, but the one built from memory. Mother's cooking. A familiar streetlight, the laughter of childhood before prices became heavier than hope. They are exiles within their own country, longing for a place that may no longer exist. What hurts them most is not hunger. Hunger can be eased with one meal. What breaks them is invisibility. To wake up and realize that a city of 20 million people does not have space for one more beating heart. That is a loneliness deeper than poverty. There are cameras watching every corner, yet somehow no one sees them. A nation can survive inflation, recession, even crisis. But can it survive the disappearance of its own people from the story of progress? Number 3. When dreams turn into concrete cages. There is a sound cities make when hope collapses. It is not loud. It is the quiet settling of dust on buildings that were never meant to be empty. I have walked past rows of unfinished towers, concrete skeletons frozen mid-breath. They stand like monuments to a future that changed its mind. Once, these places were advertised as gateways to middle-class life. Families saved for years, believing these walls would hold their children's laughter. But now, the glass is cracked, elevators rust in silence, and advertisements peel into confessions of false promises. What was supposed to keep people safe has become a reminder of everything they've lost. I met a man who pointed toward a high-rise that loomed above us. He told me he used to stand there with pride, holding the purchase contract in his hands. He said the day he signed it, his mother cried, happy tears. She told him he had done what she never could. But the building was never finished. Today, he still pays his mortgage every month for a home that is only real on paper. He said he no longer tells his mother. Some truths would break her heart too easily. Real estate was once the most trusted path upward. But trust, once fractured, does not mend like concrete. And as prices rise while wages fall behind, the dream of ownership has become a burden too heavy for many to carry. What was once hope now feels like a debt that breathes down your neck. The middle class used to walk proudly, confident that tomorrow would reward them. Today, they walk carefully, afraid that any step could send them downward. They cut spending, they cancel plans, they hold their breath financially, waiting for news that never comes. Cafes stay quiet. Travel plans are folded away like forgotten photographs. When consumption stops, economies shiver. In these apartment ruins, I sometimes see children playing. Their laughter echoes through hollow corridors where wallpaper never touched the walls. They run across concrete floors without rooms to divide their imagination. To them, a place unfinished feels like an adventure. But their parents look away, unable to bear the sight. Because to adults, these towers are not playgrounds. They are the graves of long-buried expectations. A city is supposed to grow, but here, growth stopped without warning, like holding one's breath too long underwater. You don't realize the danger until you start to drown. Some people believed a home meant success. Now they pray it doesn't mean ruin. And above it all, those empty windows watch silently. They reflect the sky, but hide the truth. Thousands sleep on the streets below, while rooms remain locked and lifeless above. It is a balance sheet with no balance, a contradiction no billboard slogan can fix. They say buildings are just structures. But I have learned that buildings can break hearts. They can tell stories of ambition and betrayal. They can show how a society loses its footing, not when the poor suffer, but when those who thought they were safe begin to fall. Progress built these towers, but faith was what filled them. When faith leaves, walls become cages, cold, tall, and hollow. Number 4. The silent disappearance of opportunity. Morning arrives, but not everyone wakes up to possibility. In the heart of cities once celebrated for opportunity, I have seen long lines form outside recruitment centers, lines filled with young faces that should be burning with hope. Instead, their eyes flicker with doubt, like candles fighting a wind no one warned them about. A nation once proud of lifting millions out of poverty now watches a generation slip quietly back toward the edge. These are not dropouts or drifters. They are graduates, engineers, designers, teachers, people who believed education was a bridge. Yet they find themselves standing at the end of a road, abruptly cut short. One woman showed me her folder of resumes, corners soft from too many rejections. She used to count the applications she sent. She stopped counting when she realized numbers no longer comfort. I asked her what she feared most. "Not failure," she said. "Failure means I tried. I fear becoming someone the world doesn't need." Her words landed heavier than any statistic. Technology was supposed to open doors. Instead, it has closed more than it created. The new jobs require skills she was never taught, networks she never knew how to build. And while she tries to catch up, the world runs faster. People tell her to be patient, but hunger does not understand patience. Some young men ride motorcycles all day, delivering food to offices where jobs used to be. They race the clock for a few dollars and the illusion of progress. One showed me his cracked phone screen, his only lifeline to work. He laughed when it slipped from his hand. "If this breaks," he said, "my life does too." The laughter didn't reach his eyes. Others turned to live streaming, not to entertain, not to perform, but simply to exist. Their viewers donate a coin or two, not out of admiration, but pity. And pity, once accepted, is hard to wash off. It clings to dignity like dirt beneath fingernails. Meanwhile, official reports shift their numbers like cards in a magician's hand. Youth unemployment becomes a phrase removed from headlines. The problem does not disappear, only the permission to speak about it. They call it technical adjustment. But the silence feels like burial. Behind every statistic is a home where parents whisper late at night, wondering how their educated child became a burden again. Behind every cheerful billboard is someone checking their phone for a message that still refuses to come. Hope grows quieter each day. A society cannot ask its youth to dream while taking away the ground where dreams walk. When a generation loses belief in the future loses its shape. These young people do not ask for miracles, only a place in the story, only proof they were not foolish to hope. And yet, the city keeps turning its head, pretending not to hear the sound of ambitions falling. If opportunity is the engine of progress, what happens when that engine stalls? You don't hear an explosion. You hear a slow, steady silence. Number 5. Hunger. Wearing a human face. There is a kind of hunger that gnaws at the body, but there is another kind, quieter, sharper, that devours the soul first. I have seen both walking side by side in these cities, disguised as ordinary people passing by. You may not notice them. Hunger has learned how to hide. Beside a shopping mall entrance, where glossy posters promise indulgence and luxury, a young man crouched down, searching through a trash bin with practiced discretion. He wore a collared shirt, clean but wrinkled, still holding on to the dignity he has left. When he found half a sandwich, he wiped it carefully with a tissue before taking a bite. He didn't look embarrassed, only tired. Not far away, a charity kitchen opens its doors at sunrise. People gather quietly, clutching plastic containers like prized possessions. A bowl of porridge, a hard-boiled egg, these are treasures now. I watched as an elderly woman held her food, as though she feared it might disappear if she blinked. Her hands trembled, not from age, but from the relief of being fed. For one more day. They used to say prosperity had arrived, that no one would be left behind. But prosperity has rules, and hunger does not qualify. One night, I sat on the pavement beside a group of delivery drivers, sharing a single meal, passing chopsticks from hand to hand. They told me their salaries once covered rent, food, and maybe even a small dream. Now, each month feels like a battle to pay debts that were never theirs to begin with. They laugh together to make the bitterness go down easier. And yet, the shops behind us overflowed with plenty. Fresh produce, imported snacks, rows of pastries under soft lighting. It is strange how abundance can feel like a taunt. The glass windows serve as mirrors, reflecting the division between those who eat choice and those who eat chance. I once heard a mother whisper to her son that hunger is temporary. "Close your eyes," she said, "and you won't feel it for a while." Her boy nodded. That night, his lullaby was the sound of his own stomach, rumbling like distant thunder. Hunger strips away the illusions society clings to. It reveals what survival looks like without comfort or excuses. It shows who we truly are when the mask of success falls away. And what I have seen in these moments is not weakness, but a quiet, stubborn strength. People helping each other with what little they have. Strangers offering food before eating themselves. A dignity that refuses to surrender, even when the world demands it. But strength has a breaking point. When dreams shrink to calories and the future depends on the generosity of others, you begin to understand that hunger is more than a physical ache. It is the fear that tomorrow might never change. It is the uncertainty of worth. It is the question, do I still deserve a seat at the table of humanity? In the richest cities, hunger has not vanished. It has simply learned how to blend in. Number 6, a society. Cracking from the inside. Cities are built on foundations of concrete and steel, but societies, those are held together by something far more fragile. Trust. Trust that if you work hard, life will reward you. Trust that progress lifts everyone, not just those already standing on high ground. Trust that tomorrow won't betray you. I have watched that trust erode like a coastline, pulled away by a relentless tide. We often speak about economic collapse, as if it happens in stock charts and government halls. But it truly begins in living rooms. When a father delays paying the utility bill so his daughter can keep her phone active and job applications flowing. When a mother hides her tears because the family savings she poured into a home is now locked inside hollow walls that will never echo with laughter. It begins when people realize effort no longer guarantees stability. Schools still teach that success is earned, but outside those gates, the world is punishing those who believed. The old economic engines, construction, manufacturing, real estate, once roared with unstoppable force. Now they wheeze, struggling to breathe. And in that choking silence, millions wait for a new engine to start. But no one knows when or if it will. Families who once bought second apartments, convinced the future was theirs to sculpt, now watch those same investments sink like anchors. They tighten their belts, they shrink their horizons. They learn to live quietly, spending as though hope itself is overpriced. Small businesses shutter their doors. Cafes remain half empty at breakfast. Neon signs flicker over streets where payday no longer means celebration. Even the smiles of children feel heavier, because their parents have learned to calculate joy in monthly installments. There is crime, yes, but not the kind that makes headlines. It is more subtle. Unpaid wages that vanish with excuses, internships that promise experience but deliver only waiting, pyramid schemes disguised as opportunity. People take desperate paths not because they desire risk, but because normal paths no longer exist. In the cracks of this shifting system, predators thrive. Fake jobs, exploitative lenders, factories that recruit workers only to hold them hostage with debt. Here, survival becomes negotiation. Dignity becomes a currency too expensive to spend. A country can endure hardship. Humans are resilient, remarkably so. But what happens when people stop believing that their resilience matters? When disappointment becomes a generation's native language? I once thought instability was chaos in the streets, shouting, protest, disorder. But true instability is quieter. It happens when millions sit alone in silence, each convincing themselves that their private struggle is a personal failure rather than a collective wound. The buildings still stand. Trains still run on time. Children still recite patriotic songs in school. On the surface, everything remains intact. But beneath the concrete, a fracture grows. And it spreads not through structures, but through hearts. Number 7, the weight of debt, the burden of dreams. Debt is a strange kind of prison. You cannot see its walls, but you feel them closing in a little more each day. It doesn't rattle chains or slam iron gates. Instead, it whispers, softly, constantly, reminding you of every choice you've made, every future moment already spent before it arrives. I met a young teacher named Fong. His salary stopped coming months ago, Yet the bank app still shows the same stern reminder on the first day of each month. Mortgage due. Payment required. No exceptions. The apartment he pays for is dark, unfinished, a pile of concrete sealed behind a locked gate. "I still go there sometimes," he said. "I look at the window of the room that was supposed to be my daughter's." His voice trembled, not from fear. Fear would almost be easier. It trembled from resignation. Debt turns hope into a liability. It is not just individuals who are trapped. It is a whole class, once the symbol of prosperity. The middle class, that silent backbone of society, now tightens every expense like a wound being stitched without anesthesia. They stopped going to restaurants, stopped traveling, even stopped celebrating. Birthdays become reminders of another year spent falling behind. Expectations are heavier than hunger, because hunger only reminds you of today. Expectation reminds you of everything you've lost. A couple I met in Guangzhou told me they had postponed having a child, indefinitely. "What kind of world would we be bringing them into?" the wife asked, her hand resting absent-mindedly on her stomach, as if searching for the courage she once had. In a country that once urged families to grow smaller, they are now quietly begging them to grow larger again. But who dares raise a family when tomorrow feels as unstable as a fault line? Debt does not just take money, it takes beginnings. I walked into an electronics store one afternoon. The lights were bright, music upbeat, banners shouting discounts. Yet no one was buying. The salesman told me they turn on the displays to make the shop look alive. "If the lights go out," he said, "people will think we've already died." He smiled as he said it, but his eyes were tired. He lives in a small rented room. He avoids calls from the bank. He has not told his parents he can no longer send money home. We often think that instability comes from the poor getting poorer. But the real tremor comes when the comfort begins to crumble. When those who trusted the system lose faith in it. When the people holding everything together start loosening their grip. A mortgage was once a promise of belonging. Now it is a reminder that belonging can slip away overnight. These homes were built to hold families, to protect love, laughter, and life. Now they hold guilt, anxiety, silence. What do you call a dream that traps you instead of freeing you? A nightmare with paperwork. Debt has turned millions of lives into survival stories, and no one can thrive when survival becomes the only goal. Number 8. The quiet collapse of belief. There is a question haunting the air here, unspoken but present in every lowered gaze. What if life never gets better? Progress used to be a certainty, a straight road paved by sacrifice and ambition. Parents worked, children studied, and the future waited like a prize. But somewhere along the way, the road bent, then cracked, and now many are unsure if it leads anywhere at all. I once sat in a quiet tea shop with a young couple. They were both college graduates, both once convinced the world needed them. Now, they take turns paying rent. "We always thought we'd build a life together," the man said, "but now we just try not to drown." Marriage, once the beginning of a shared dream, has become a risk too heavy to take. Their love is real, but fear has taken the driver's seat. Official numbers still speak of growth, campaigns still celebrate prosperity, but beneath the bright slogans lies a shift in the very soul of the society. When marriage falls, when birth rates sink, when hope shrinks, a nation ages not through years, but through disappointment. I walked through a luxury mall in Beijing one evening. The stores gleamed, but footsteps echoed. Empty, hollow. Salespeople stood like statues waiting for customers who would never come. A few floors down, at the subway entrance, a line of delivery drivers napped on the floor, helmets clutched like pillows. The contrast hit me harder than any news report could. the divide between images of success and the reality of survival. I asked one writer why he never goes home before midnight. He shrugged. "Night makes the city softer," he said. "People don't judge as much in the dark." His words carried the weight of millions who now live in the shadows, not because they want to, but because daylight exposes too many failures. Trust is not built by promises. It is built by proof. And every day without proof is a day that belief slips further away. Young people no longer fight for promotions. They fight for mental stability. They do not dream about owning homes. They calculate whether they can afford tomorrow. They do not demand more. They beg for just enough. Dreams used to push them forward. Now dreams are a luxury they cannot afford to chase. I have always thought a crisis announces itself with noise, shouting, protests, crowds in the streets. But the deepest crises move silently. They are felt in the quiet cancellation of weddings, in the din of late-night scrolling through job apps, in the silent dinners where parents pretend they are not worried. Sometimes society does not explode. It simply exhales, long and weary, and stops believing in its own story. There is a loneliness in this silence that numbers cannot measure. A loneliness that comes from questioning your place in a world that once promised you everything. A loneliness that grows each time a hopeful heart whispers, "What if I'm no longer part of the future?" Faith in tomorrow is what keeps humanity moving. And here, that faith is fading. Number 9. What remains of us? When hope fades. I used to believe that people broke loudly, through anger, shouting, protests in crowded squares. But here, people break quietly. They smile while something inside them gives way. They keep moving even when their spirit no longer follows. They learn to live with the ache of what life didn't become. One night, I spoke with a man who had once been a civil engineer. He designed roads meant to connect cities, bridges meant to carry others to their destinations. Now, he sleeps beneath one of those bridges. "Funny, isn't it?" he murmured, pulling his jacket tighter around him. "I helped build the path forward. And somehow, I'm the one who lost my way." His laugh trembled like a leaf in winter. Humans adapt, they say. But survival is not the same as living. Some cope by detaching from the world that rejected them. They embrace lying flat, a quiet rebellion that requires no slogans, just the refusal to break themselves further. Others keep running, as if movement alone can outrun the truth. They pick up gig jobs, temporary tasks, illusions of purpose that dissolve with each paycheck already spent before it arrives. There is a loneliness in this country that does not show in population numbers. It shows in the space between people's words, in the tired way they look away when asked about the future, in the silence that follows the question, "What do you hope for now?" A society frays not when the poor suffer. That is an old story. It frays when everyday people no longer see meaning in effort, when good lives turn into cautionary tales, when the next step forward feels like standing still. I have watched parents encourage their children to succeed while doubting the very concept of success. I have watched young people laugh online while crying offline, hiding their despair behind filters and emojis the way past generations hid it behind locked doors. And I have watched the middle class, once so confident, shrink into themselves, trying to protect the little they have left from a world that keeps asking for more. Fear spreads faster than facts. Disillusionment weighs more than debt. But amid this unraveling, I have also seen flickers of what makes us human. A delivery driver giving half his meal to a stranger. A group of homeless youth pooling their earnings so one friend can afford a shower before a job interview. A grandmother handing her grandson the last dumpling even when hunger claws her stomach. In the darkest places, compassion becomes our proof of existence. Maybe that is what will save us. Not systems, not slogans, not promises from above, but small acts of grace from those who have the least to give. We are fragile. We bend, we break, but we also hold each other upright, sometimes just long enough to try again. Hope may fade, but humanity flickers stubbornly in the wind. Cities are loud places, but the truths that matter most are always whispered, under bridges, behind closed doors, in the quiet spaces where survival hides its shame. I have walked those streets long enough to know that progress can cast shadows taller than skyscrapers. And sometimes, the people who fall into those shadows are the ones who once believed the brightest. The skyline still shines each night, a declaration of success. But if you listen closely, beneath the hum of lights and engines, there is another sound. A soft, steady plea from millions whose dreams have been delayed or denied. They do not ask for much, just a chance to stand again. Just one tomorrow that doesn't feel like a punishment. Maybe the world hasn't changed as much as we think. Maybe only the distance between those who rise and those who fall has grown wider, so wide that many now disappear in the middle. And yet, everywhere I go, I see the same quiet resilience, the same stubborn belief that life, even when unfair, is still worth trying for. Humanity does not thrive in comfort. It reveals itself in struggle. As I leave these streets tonight, I carry their stories with me. Every tired smile, every trembling hope, every life that deserved more than the world was willing to give. And I wonder, if we looked a little longer, cared a little deeper, could we help each other find our way back into the light? Thank you for walking beside me through this journey, through the places society prefers to ignore. If you want to keep exploring these hidden truths of our world, stay with me. Watch the next story appearing here on your screen. Share this video. Subscribe to Fascinating Discoveries. Let's make sure these voices are not forgotten. Wherever you are tonight, I wish you peace and the courage to believe in tomorrow.